The streets of Undermere are narrow and claustrophobic. In many places, the buildings lean out of the upper floors so that neighbors can reach across and shake hands, or, more likely, exchange unpleasantries. Strange Horticulture is a small shop situated away from the main thoroughfares, but it has the advantage of being one of the few buildings in Undermere that stands alone. Plants, you may have noticed, need light, and light is in short supply at street level in this town. Recently, the shop passed to me after the death of my uncle. There is much to learn, but one thing is already clear. The rare and unusual plants he have stocked have their uses after all. So, day 1, Friday. So this is not a blind playthrough. I actually played completely all the way through in my own fumbled way. I did record it, but it's not worth watching. My goal with this is I had gotten stuck a few times and looked up some guides, and I felt like the guides were kind of helpful, but I was going to play through and do my best to help everyone out. I'm going to be semi-cheating. I am going to pre-label all of the plants because I know what they are as I continue through. And I will make sure to put chapters in so you guys have a quick reference. But anyway, thank you so much for hanging out with me while I play this, and hopefully I can help have you have a better game experience. I found it, an expert on the elusive wandering boo. Come to the library in Ambleside and I'll tell you about it. I even found something on the gilded dendra that might be of interest. Simone. P.S. Give Alibor a good scratch behind the ear from me. Anytime. Okay, I got that going. So in order to travel, we have to water to get the will to explore. The library here in Ambleside is one of my favorite haunts. Simone, the librarian, is always helpful and friendly and shares some of my passion for unusual plants. Today, she is grinning ear to ear and can't wait to show me what she found. Alright, so now we gotta water some more so we can go to the next location. The weather changes fast out on the hills. What started as a gray morning has turned into bright sunshine. Good thing, too, because it takes me several hours to find what I came for. By the time I'm done, the cloud is sweeping back over, a cloak of unwelcome shade. Victoria Gray? I must have walked past the shop 100 times without ever stopping to look. What a wonderful place to spend your day, surrounded by plants. I came here because I have an unusual request. At night I hear whispered voices too faint to hear clearly, coming from the floor above me, but nobody lives up there. The rooms are empty. My curiosity has got the better of me. I must find out what they're saying. Good morning. Bloody awful weather out there today. Good for plants, though, eh? Got a letter for you. Godsforth is a hateful town. I was beaten and robbed and left to die in the streets. After many days I was rescued by a kind stranger, just as I had come to fear the wickedness had infected the heart of every soul in that cursed place. I began my recovery in the woods to the south of town with a group of travelers. On the northeast corner of the wood I sat and stared at a bright flower, and tears flowed down my face at the reminder that there is beauty in the world. I shall be returning to Undermere soon. Warmest regards, Amos Duncan. The wood has a calming effect on my mind. It does me good to escape into nature, away from the stench and clamor of Undermere. It is not long before I spy a bright flower among the trees. Something got those witches in the forest stirred up. They're not letting anyone through. I had to take the long way around, down through Backbarrow. I never did trust that sisterhood. Anyway, I'm here now, and I brought Fennett from the south to trade for some lemon dandy. Faye Swift. My dreams are becoming more vivid. I saw a woman, her face hidden behind a mask, and next to her a terrifying black skeletal creature. It stood tall, its roving head scanning the landscape, and though it had no discernible face, I could sense a hint of an expression about its features. It seemed to be laughing, but not the joyous laughter of a child, a sickly, horrifying laughter that chilled me like the first breath of winter. These past weeks have been getting worse. I need sleep. Got any wandering boo? They always remind me, what's his name? The old hermit inventor, the wanderer. It started when she found something that she was not meant to find. A book tucked away in the forgotten corner of the Ambleside library. A dead deer in the river, yellowed bone protruding from the matted hide and rotten flesh. Death for one provides life for many. Bring me a sample of Apis demis. And be quick about it. That damn cat is setting off my allergies. Lake Undermere is looking fine in the sunshine today. Here's your mail. There's an old slate mine at the Hard Knot that has some interesting looking fungi growing in it. I've never seen anything like them before. They seem to have found a niche in the damp, dark tunnels left by the tramways. I thought you might be interested. Warmest regards, Amos Duncan. An iron gate rusted by years of abandonment sits across the entrance to the tram tunnel. Rusted it may be, but it won't budge. It's locked. The gate swings open slowly, complaining loudly on its rusted hinges. After a short exploration of the tunnel, I am rewarded. I'm headed to the Grisdale Forest investigating a possible murder there. Can't say I'm looking forward to it. The Sisterhood are a secretive lot, and they're not keen to talk to me. Their leader, the Arda, or whatever they call her, she's dead. My instinct is they're hiding something. I was hoping you might have some fox button that would help me win them over. I was able to make out the whispered voices last night with the help of the St. John's poppy. There's a medium using the room illegally, I might add, holding midnight seances for gullible grievers. Is there a plant you know that I could use to give them a scare and drive them away? I need my sleep. You may have heard the rumors that our Arda is dead. May Arduinia bring her spirit peace. The nature of her death is unusual. The Sisterhood does not often look to the outside help, but this is beyond our knowledge. If you show my sisters this letter, they will allow you entry into the forest. To be assured of your discretion, we require you use Mary's breath to bind yourself to secrecy. We have failed in our duty as the protectors of the forest. Our secrets have been stolen, and the Arda has been murdered. You will find us deep in Grisdale Forest, a mile from the lake shore, across from Tover. Tover, please help us. A sister tries to stop me from entering, but I show her the letter and she lets me through. I am ushered into the walled courtyard and then through a large oak door, along a corridor and down a set of stone stairs into a cool basement. Lying on a table draped in silk is the Arda. There is not a mark on her, but her open eyes are black, her mouth, her veins, her hair, all black as a raven's wing. Do you know what could do this? Asked my escort. I set to work. I extract a sample of the Arda's blood and introduce it to the wren, and my suspicions are confirmed immediately. The leaves of the wren turn black, which could only mean one thing: gilded dendra poisoning. Upon presenting my findings, I am rushed away quickly. The sisters do not want me hanging around, it seems. They do, however, send me on my way with a couple of plants that I am grateful for. I'm this close to reporting you, you half-wit. The last plant you gave me has made my skin itch furiously. I have your little shop shut down and all torn to the ground if you don't make this right. Butterdale or Meekdew. Butterdale will cure his itchiness. Meekdew will make him break out in sores. I will explain why I'm going to choose Meekdew, because it's going to make him break out in sores. He is an animal abuser. And unfortunately, playing it this way, it's actually not going to give us the dialogue where he abuses animals. But the townspeople will talk about how he was mean. So, spoiler. The book both fascinated and terrified her in equal measure, and after studying it for some time, she reached a decision. She would never use the power she had discovered. She would hide the book where it could never be found. My eyes are drawn to the silhouette of a grizzled old man standing at the edge of a field. His mind is broken, seemingly beyond repair. Vacant eyes fixate on nothing. A whisper of an expression as my gaze sweeps his face, but only a whisper. He raises his arm, points. I follow his outstretched finger and am surprised to find a cluster of wildflowers growing there, hidden from view. I'm looking for a plant, lady of what's it something or other. I'm no green-eyed drewer, that's for sure. My mind isn't at all what it used to be. It's the one that's supposed to help with mental decline. They're saying the Arda has been killed. I know a lot of people don't trust that sisterhood, but it seemed to me the Arda always looked out for the less fortunate. The cold is too much to bear beyond the gap. I was forced to turn back. I would advise against it, but if you're determined to explore Great Gable, be sure to take precautions. Knowing you, I'm sure you'll have a plant up your sleeve that can keep you warm should the weather turn against you. Warmest regards, Amos. After several hours of arduous hiking and scrambling, I am still some distance from the summit. I am freezing cold and ready to head home. I should do the sensible thing and turn back down the mountain, unless... I push on, no longer feeling the cold, and am presently rewarded. Hello, boar. Always a pleasure, my feline friend. I hope he hasn't been nibbling the plants again. I have a favor to ask. You owe me for the hours I spent digging out the information on those plants. I've been burning the midnight oil again and could use some common trouse, and I know where to find it. According to Grayson's herbiology, it grows in abundance on red pike. I'll come by the day after tomorrow to collect it. I have business in Sedberg in the meantime. I enjoy the pleasant stroll up the fell, and the going is easy, the weather agreeable, and the view majestic. I do not have to look hard to find what I am after. When you work with the occult, I find it pays to uphold a certain image. If you're going to be accused of performing witchcraft, anyway, it doesn't hurt to put on a bit of a show every now and then. Let the punters know what I'm capable of, sort of thing. Long story short, I may have threatened to turn a small boy into a toad, and the little bugger called my bluff. Oh, don't look at me like that. You know what little boys are like. I can assure you he deserves to be turned into a toad. Anyway, I think a little display is needed to discourage this sort of behavior in future. Have you got any shimmerlung? Sorry if I'm shouting. I am a little hard of hearing. I am looking for a plant that can supposedly help me hear better, but I've forgotten what it's called. I remember it's bright red, though. Time passed, a year, and then another. The book remained hidden but out of sight, did not mean out of mind. The book was what her thoughts settled on when she rested, what she brooded over when she did her chores, what she pictured when she dreamed. The gentle sound of flowing water, the sunlight through scattered clouds, a reset. The Fox button was no help, I'm afraid. The sisterhood still refused to speak openly with me. Not that I have time to pursue it properly. I'm rushed off my feet this week. There's been a body found up at Swinside Stone Circle, and apparently it's a grisly one. Don't suppose you've got anything to help keep my lunch down? My stomach's never coped too well with the grisly ones. Morning. Verona Green handed me this for you. She seemed in a good mood. I meant to tell you this yesterday, but it slipped my mind. I discovered a plant on a recent trip to Grisdale Forest, just northeast of Ruslan. It was like nothing I've ever seen before. I would have brought it back with me if the sisterhood had given me a moment alone, but they seem overly protective lately. Kind regards, Verona Green. From the moment I step off the road, I can't shake the feeling I'm being watched. Suddenly, I find my way blocked by 3 women wearing green cloaks holding short elm bows. Nobody may wander freely throughout the forest by order of the artist, says the leader of the trio. I turn to walk back, but then again, I have a few tricks up my sleeve. With the help of the mellow glow, I walk right past the sisters, without them paying me any heed. Chuckling to myself, I collect the plant that Verona talked about and take my leave. I am afraid. The camphor you gave me is, helping me sleep. I am very grateful for it, but the visions are as strong as ever. The woman in the jade mask appears in my dreams every night. She screams at me, but I do not know why, and behind her that presence is always there, dark and dreadful. I don't know what to do. The dreams feel like a warning that I don't understand, a mosaic of color that refuses to come into focus. Some part of me wants to stare down that abyss, but I'm afraid. The agora will make the visions fade, and candor will strengthen them. I'm going to strengthen them in preparation for another ending. We don't come to Undermere often, but I hear about your shop, and I said to Francis, we simply must pay a visit. It's a wonderful breath of life in the otherwise dreary town. I'm the green-fingered one, and it's not really his cup of tea, but I persuaded him the trip would do him good, and besides, he'll be wanting to take a boat out on the lake. Shame about this awful weather, though. You must come to Searzurg. We have a small library with some books on plants that my grandfather acquired many years ago. I am sure they will be an interest to you. I'm sure they will be of interest to you, to a horticulturer such as yourself. I am greeted enthusiastically by Lady Elsbeth herself. She is very talkative and has many questions on horticulture that I do my best to answer as she takes me on a tour of the gardens. Oh, you must take a sample of this back with you, she exclaims, pointing out a plant that I do not recognize, but before I can stop to take a look, she has already whisked me on to the next. And this one too, she says. I am quite exhausted by the time we make it to the library, and I don't have the time to make as thorough of a study as I would like. Nevertheless, I am able to find an interesting entry that I note down. Don't forget these, Lady Elsbeth cries as I make to leave. She thrusts the plants from the gardens into my hands, and I thank her warmly. I'm looking for a plant with yellow flowers and coarse leaves. It helps with my heartburn. They're saying Black Combe is haunted now. Bradley Miller told me he saw the ghost of a huge deer, antlers and all, but then Miller also says he can talk to squirrels. Either way, there's something evil in them hills, and I'm not taking any chances. Awful what happened to that poor young man at Swinside. I've come for some stinking mount cap. At 15, her mother, strong, dependable, loving, was struck down by typhoid. The girl drew inward as her father turned to drink. A dead tree, its bark cracked and blackened by fire, stands alone on the hillside. Off to one side, a patch of flowers grows on a low mound. I must thank you. Last night, for the first time in weeks, my mind was calmed. I am no longer tormented by visions of the woman in the jade mask and that terrible monster. Now I'm wondering if you have some worry list to keep my over-anxious thoughts at bay. I met a strange man on the road to Sedberg not 2 days ago. Stranger still, he asked after you. He said he had something for you. Don't ask me what. So I told him where to find you, but he looked stricken when I mentioned Undermere. Said he doesn't come near towns at all if he can help it. He was headed west, at least I think he was. He said he was looking for the Winster Spring. I'll write this down for you. Anyways, that's my news. Did you manage to find the plant I wanted? The hermit's camp is easy to find, nestled between 2 boulders above the spring. The cooled remains of a fire ringed by stones is the only immediate sign that anyone was here. I call out, but there is no reply. The hermit is not here. A more thorough search of the campsite yields something interesting. Tucked off to one side, I discovered some broken pieces of wood arranged on the floor. Down 2 over 3. The camp at Winster Spring has led me to another camp of sorts, where I'm greeted by an eccentric man. Oh, yes, yes, ho, 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 the man says. You must take this, take it, take it. At his insistence, I receive the looking glass that he thrusts into my hands. He places an envelope delicately on top. Ho, ho, is no use to me any more. Ho, ho, no use. Don't forget the red, the red, the red. The red, whoo, Ebony. I am sure that he is quite mad. It is said that the red ebony plant has the property of uncovering that which is hidden or secret. I have perfected a device designed to use extract from the plant in concert with a viewing window in order to permit the user to see magics, otherwise invisible to the naked eye. I am not long for this world, and I have decided that I want to be buried in a grave decorated with the rare and beautiful Kabbalah, like a drear huntsman with their dranthium-covered tombs. Your reputation is growing, horticulturist. I hear you are the person to come to for plants that are difficult to acquire. My head feels like it's being torn in two lately. I am looking for some hop heart. Reuben Ward has called on my unique expertise to aid in his investigation at the Swinside Stone Circle. Unique expertise, ha! He knows how to flatter an old woman when he wants something. I thought about telling him to suck an egg, gave it a good long thought, actually, but my curiosity has got the better of me. He must be desperate if he's coming to me, and I bet they found something juicy down there. Signs of ritual sacrifice, maybe. I could do with some witch feg to take with me. I am on my way to the mayor's office to file an official request that your business license be revoked. You will practice your witchcraft on the residents of Undermere no longer. Well, do you have anything to say for yourself? The historian will wipe his memory, and Henchuk will kill him. Wait, I better make sure I'm correct on that. Oop. Good thing I didn't. Alright. Other way around. Henchuk wipes his memory, Storian kills him. I don't particularly want to kill him this time around. Not long after the girl left home, her father wept, but he was so caught up in his own grief that he let her go and did not look for her. The heavens open up as I reach the fork. I take a moment to pause and listen to the sound of water on water. I am soaked through, but my spirits are high as I return home. I am not empty-handed. 2 new plants today. The insects make the salt marshes uninhabitable. People stay away and not much grows there, but I know where to find an unusual plant. I have drawn you a map in case you decide it is worth your time. The air is thick with flying, biting insects, an unbearable plague. I fight against it for mere moments before I am overwhelmed. If only I had some blue winter to keep them at bay. The blue winter saves my skin, but the swirling mass of insects is so thick in places that it is hard to see. At length I come across what I came for and hurry away. Thank you for your help and discretion earlier. The Sisterhood is grateful, but the news that the Arda has poison with Gildodendra has everyone worried. The temporary acting Arda is panicking. I probably shouldn't be telling you this, but one of the sisters has gone missing, a runaway called Thea that we took in a few years ago. We're trying to find her, and Sister Charlotte remembered that the Jacob's Worth plant is said to help locate people. It's my wife's birthday, and I wanted to get her something special. There was a plant that she used to love as a child, but she hasn't been able to find in years. It's a sort of bulb-like and has a strong smell to it, but strong in a good way. Oh, and the flower is more like lots of little flowers. We've had our eye on you for some time now. Join us. Praise the Dendru. I represent a group called the Seeds of Redemption. Your expertise would be very useful to us, and we have much to offer in return. Let us know we can count on you by leaving a single St. John's poppy flower outside the Sagil's church before Friday. Do not make the mistake of ignoring us. Praise the Dendru. I have returned from Swinside. I must admit I was hoping for more to go on, but there were certainly signs of a ritual having been performed at the stone circle. And the poor victim, well, the less said about him, the better. Reuben had it right, though. Grisly. I have the beginnings of a theory, but I have to run some tests on a sample of gilded dendra. My aunt died 2 weeks ago and I inherited her house. I have been shifting through her possessions and last night I found something unusual. In a forgotten corner of the attic, I found a coffin. More unusual still, it was bound by strong vines, so strong that I cannot cut through them. I immediately thought of your shop. You know about plants, right? Before she left, she returned to her hiding place and carefully retrieved the book, her excitement building as she did. She couldn't articulate what was so alluring to her about the book, but by now it had become an obsession. The forest here is lush and vibrant. The birdsong feels enchanting like the call of the sirens. Nestled in the undergrowth under the shade of a birch tree, a plant grows. I was able to strip away the swift snare's vines and lift the lid with more than a little trepidation, I'll admit. To my relief, but also disappointment, the coffin contained nothing but dust. At least that's what I thought at first, but then I looked closer and discovered a golden amulet embedded in the gray ash. At the back of the amulet is an inscription that says, "With Solomon's scepter, I awake." I heard a shepherd got killed by some wild beast up near the Swinside Sown Circle. They say it slaughtered half his flock as well. People around here don't seem too bothered, but it's got them panicked down Foxfield Way. Kentmere Eye. Well, this is getting interesting. I was able to confirm that it was indeed gilded dendra that was used at the Swinside ritual site. That's a worrying sign. It's a plant that is used in several of the darker incantations. And it can't be a coincidence that the very same plant was used to poison the Arda. There must be a connection between this other murder and the sisterhood. I need some mental clarity to think it through. Some maiden sorrow would help a lot. Whoever wrote up my map has been very helpful. I would never have thought to come out to this desolate place in search of a plant life, but a quick search yields exciting results. The memorial bears the name of the Swaff prior. It stirs a memory. He was one of the Dreer. Theirs is a lonely life at the mercy of a dangerous addiction. They build a tolerance to the Dryanthium sap in childhood that they might benefit from its potent effects, but they will die if they stop taking it. An unusual plant grows sparsely around the memorial. It looks like I'm going to have to make a trip to Black Combe. Verona noticed something at the Swinside site that had me pondering. A piece of slate with a symbol drawn on it in black. Can't think of anywhere else around there where you'd get slate from. That and Bradley Miller keeps insisting that he saw something up at Black Combe. But then again, Bradley Miller does claim that fairies stole his wheelbarrow. If I'm going to spend a night out on the hills, I want to take some eyebright with me. Wouldn't want anyone sneaking up on me in the dark. Does it ever stop raining in Undermere? You have a reputation in town for knowing about unusual plants. I need some gray sandfire. Nobody around here seems to even know what I'm talking about, but I hope I'm in the right place now. At first she felt free, but it wasn't long before the reality of her situation began to take its toll. She stole food when she was hungry and slept in makeshift shelters, not knowing where she was going, not caring. Eventually she made her way to Grisdale Forest. Right. This forms an X. So we have illegal or Ilgil to Lowick and Foxfield to Crinkle. So it's in the middle. The magpie sees me before I see it. I do not know how long it has been watching me, but I can tell that it is interested in my movements. A strange sensation creeps over me, and I feel an urge to leave this place, but not before collecting a plant for further study. 1 for sorrow. Turning to leave, I see another magpie, and another plant I've never seen before. 2 for joy. Ignoring our offer was a mistake, horticulturist. The Dendru has awoken, the redemption is upon us, and when it arrives, you will not be spared. My mind is clouded, dark. I see it and it sees me, all of me. Elder Fanim is the answer, it must be. My mum was into horticulture. I found this among her things. Golden light, that's a plant, right? I'm not sure what long meg could mean, though. Is that another plant? Anyways, I thought you should have it, just in case it's any help. She loved this shop. Help me! The amulet! I can't remove it and it's drawing the life from me. I can feel it working. Thank you. It's good to see you, my friend. I've been on the road so long, I started to wonder if you were still on the other end of the letters I've been sending. I'm back in town for a few days, though I wanted to give you these before I forgot. I found them in the pocket of an overcoat that belonged to your uncle. I almost threw them away, but I thought the symbols on them might mean something to you. Alright, so you line these up like puzzle pieces. This symbol in Gosforth is important to know, to make a note of. A Briar's disc, often called a smuggler's disc, is a simple device that can be used to send coded messages, the location of cash cargo, for example. The principle is cunningly straightforward, but the code is undecipherable to prying eyes. Both parties must be in possession of a disc of identical size with the same symbols etched around its edge, and a map. To encode a location, you would then place the disc over some named point on the map nearby and note whichever symbol is pointing to the location. It may be necessary to string multiple symbols together, but you can use this method to reach any other point on the map as required. And that is talking about this, which we're going to pair this with this in a minute. These are done, so we can tuck these away. So let's tuck that away. Okay, so we're going to first go to Kentmorth. It said Kentmorth Eye. So Kentmorth and then the eye, which is going to take us to E27. From Kentmorth, I followed the bearing of the eye and end up in a small forest north of Kendal. The woods are thick with briar and brambles, but amongst the tangled undergrowth, a type of flower is flourishing. Okay, and according to this card, it wants us to go to Kendall. There's someone there who wants to talk to us. I find the medicinal herbology shop off Black Hall Road. I know you, says the man behind the counter. Robert Barrow, presumably. You are the owner of Strange Horticulture. 2 hours later, after a lengthy and engaging discussion covering a variety of botanical subjects, we decide on a trade. Turns out Robert is a collector of unusual fungi, and I have just the thing for him. And we're going to get a little ahead of ourselves, but if you use this, you're going to see that there's spores coming off this plant. Just something to note for later. I have no idea what any of this means, but it seemed like something you might find interesting. I found it while clearing out the nook off the east wing. Baylock's elixir, so we're going to save that for later. Oh, we're going to get rid of that. What was this? A young woman alone in the world, she was taken in by the sisterhood and given a home. It was a chance for redemption, a new start. This may seem like a bit of gibberish, but it's actually northeast, south, southwest, south, south off of Tibet, if that helps at all. I find myself on a patch of moorland surrounded by jagged peaks and menacing clouds. A distinctive plant stands out against the swaths of purple heather, and there, another. Longmeg? Sorry, I've not heard of it, but I'll keep an eye out for you in the library. As long as you can get me some fever kiss, that is. Too many late nights at the library are taking their toll. There's talk around town of a woman who wears a green mask made of jade. There are all sorts of oddballs in Undermere, but that's certainly unusual. The candle leads me east of Westwater to the north. Mighty Scoffle Pike grazes the sky, the tallest peak in England. The challenge beckons to me, perhaps another time. I've been talking to people around town, trying to learn as much as I can about this beast that is rumored to have been seen in these parts. In the old world they called this thing the Servant, but the people here seem to have forgotten that name. Except the group calling themselves the Seeds of Redemption. They are something I did not expect, and they have made it clear that they want me to stay away from the Servant. They seem to worship it. But I'm getting distracted. My Dranthium supplies are low. I need more. I crept around Blackcomb 2 nights ago in the pitch black. The eyebright is some potent stuff. I could see clear as day. Up on the fell I found a shallow pit full of skulls. Some deer, fox, badger, and some human. There was an eerie silence about the place, and every part of me was screaming to get out of there. Back down on the flat, I heard a terrible noise like an axe maker's whetstone, but unmistakably animal. High on the ridgeline I saw a cowled woman wearing a jade mask watching me, and beside her, something dark, inhuman, and bloody huge. I don't mind admitting that I am out of my depth on this one. I need to speak with Verona again. While I'm here, I'll grab some wild coal for my pounding head. You have been out drinking too, if you've seen what I did. My son is very sick. Someone told me about a mushroom that produces a thick, milky liquid that can help relieve his stomach pains. I am willing to try anything. Poor Reuben, he looks a little worse for wear this morning. He took it hard when his wife died and never did quite give up the drink. I think I know what ritual was performed at the stone circle. It all adds up. It was a summoning spell. Someone called to something across the void and tried to bring it here, and the state of that body, all torn to shreds, I say they succeeded. And then the gilded dendra, that really got me thinking. I found this in Dr. Worthing's bestiary, a little light reading for you. I'm headed to Grisdale Forest again. The Sisterhood would know more. It has many names. Some call it the Woken Dendru, believing it to be related in some way to the deadly gilded dendra plant. Others call it the Night Stalker, the Miasma, or the Dread. But the most common name for it in the Shires is the Servant. You'll have heard of it in the children's song, such as Keep the Fire Burning and Servant and Master. And there are hints of it in the older stories, but nobody alive has seen it in the flesh. It is said that the dead ground northeast of Tibet, where nothing but black Digatius mortis grows, was caused when the Servant last walked our lands hundreds of years ago. The wide area of blackened ground here is known to the locals as Dead Man's Field. Dark mushrooms protrude from the soil like fingers reaching out from the grave. Every day she attentively followed the teachings of the Arda. Every day she patiently performed the task given to her. Every day thoughts of the book itched away at the back of her mind. A secret uncovered is a secret no more, 2 miles north of Foxfield. Three ravens circle above, their caws and croaks cleaving the silence. An omen. I take what I came for and leave. One from your librarian friend today. In reference to your question the other day about the Long Meg, I'm afraid I do not have an answer, but Calder Abbey has a wealth of knowledge on local lore. If you ever go there, the monks will request a plant from you, but they won't tell you what they want, a sort of test. They've never allowed me in to look through their stacks. A small window opens within a much larger oak door. From the darkness within, a voice proclaims, "Only a friend may enter." The hatch snaps shut and the oak door swings inward slowly without a sound. I am ushered in by a man wearing a plain brown robe. He nods silently when I ask about Long Meg and leads me through the abbey to a small library filled with scrolls and books. Without a word, he pauses for a moment, surveying, before selecting a scroll and handing it to me. There is a stone circle north of Undermere. According to local legend, some hundreds, perhaps even thousands of years ago, a witch known as Long Meg lived nearby, along with her daughters. They were wild, godless people who practiced evil magic, until one night they went too far and Meg and her daughters were turned to stone. The tall stone that stands apart from the main circle is called Long Meg by the locals. A river is in its youth here, flowing swiftly through the rocks with the melodic gurgle. Among the tall grass that line the river bank is a much more unusual looking flower. The Sisterhood are trying my patience again. If the old Arda was around, but she's not. They've kept secrets for hundreds of years. If there ever was a time to share them, it is now. They know of a way to defeat this servant, some ritual or weapon or something, but their stubborn pride won't bring them to ask for help. Well, I won't sit idly by and do nothing. I better have a little chat with this new Arda. And I think I will take some mountain astory with me. I have finished the designs you asked me to work on. Be very careful unwrapping these. Some of the glasswork is quite delicate, and I have taken care transporting them. And now we can make elixirs. The new Arda wouldn't like me being here, but the forest is in danger. I spoke with Verona Green earlier. It's bad. If the Dendra has awoken, then it will come for us. You must place an offering at the altar at Ardenina. It seems Beth has been able to keep her fellow sisters away from this part of the forest, for now at least. The trees are thick here, old too. The altar seems to belong here, as much part of the forest as the gnarled trunks and twisting roots. I must place an offering to the goddess Ardenina. Alright. Is that to have protective various deities in return? Okay, yeah, it's Ember Soul that we want to place. For the bad ending, part of the groundwork is placing the other plant. There we go. I'm being harassed by loonies shouting about the redemption, saying they're going to set it free. Whatever the hell that means. Well, they can take their seeds of whatever, woken something, or other nonsense and stick it where the sun doesn't shine. I'm not joining their damn cult. I just want to tend my garden in peace. I'm looking for some larkshine to drive them away if they come around again. In time, she learned that the sisterhood had secrets. Or had she always known that? Had she come to them by chance, or had she sought them out deliberately? She wasn't sure. But by now, she knew that what she wanted, and she would do anything to get it. Alright. These numbers are mountain ranges, so Battlefield 902 and Old Man is 803. And you try your best to line them up. And it's going to tell you where to click. An impressive ridgeline of the Crinkle Crag stretches across the full width of my vision. Days like today are worth being alive for. A colorful plant stands out amongst the moss. My old man reckons there's a plant that can find pots of gold buried underground. Don't know what it's called, but I bet you do. Tell you what, when I'm rich, I'll throw a share of gold your way. I'm heading out on the road again, but before I leave, I wanted to store some valuables in a safe. I don't trust myself to remember the combination, and I certainly don't trust myself to write it down anywhere and not lose it. This is where you come in. Surely you got something up your sleeve for me. Please help me. I lost my dog while out walking in the fells. The mist rolled in and he was gone. I remembered there was a plant you can use to help find people. I wonder if it works for dogs. It is unusual. It has unusual black and golden flowers. Oh goodness, Helleborn, you haven't been getting enough food? That's terrible. Whatever will become of you? My mother's had me looking into the servant creature for you, but I'm afraid I'm not getting anywhere. It's strange, I'm sure I've seen some reference to it before, but I'm drawing a blank when I try to find anything. I think Lord Freeman's archives would be a great place to look. I was going to post this to you, but I was in town anyway, so I thought I'd drop it off in person. That and sneak in some hellebore kisses. Or hugs. I've not been getting anywhere looking through my collections in Ambleside for any mention of the servant, but Lord Freeman's archives at Muncaster are home to many ancient and historic scrolls. Scrolls covering a wide variety of subjects. Might be worth a visit. I follow Freeman's manservant deep into the vaults of the castles. 2 hours later, I still found no mention of the servant. On the verge of giving up, a name grabs my attention. The Woken Dendru. Didn't Verona say that was another name for the servant? The Woken Dendru is loyal to the summoner, who becomes its master and can bend its terrible power to their will. This servant is assumed to be immortal since it has no known vulnerabilities, but that does not mean that it cannot be defeated. Many hundreds of years ago, a site of ritual importance was created near Blackcombe to the south of the Watcher, the Great Oak, and the Dendru was ousted from the world. Unfortunately, although we know that 5 plants were required for the ritual, the specific plants are not known. Norwood, please. I find it's the only thing that can keep me from nodding off on the night shift. When her chance finally came, she did not hesitate, even for a moment. Afterwards, when the Arda was dead, she felt only elation. Years after she had first laid eyes on the book, she had what she needed. The Lyle of Neptune, also called Truesayer. So it's L, and then we know it's 7 for the Kambala flower for lucky petals. So we're going to L7. I ambled through Meadowland, stopping every so often to examine any wildflowers that catch my eye. Buttercups, daisies, cowslips, red clover, knapweed, cat's ear, and hidden among them, something new for my collection. It came for us. We were attacked in the night by the servant. In all my time in the forest, I have never experienced anything like what happened last night. The forest came alive and drove the beast back. Our Danina saved us. It's the only explanation that makes any sense. One thing is clear, we cannot do this alone, and we must not allow the servant to get its hands on what it's looking for. I'm trusting you with this, a secret that the Sisterhood has kept for hundreds of years, a tool to defeat the Woken Dendru. Keep it safe. And use it wisely. Okay, I could tell from the forums and even from my own experience, a lot of people didn't understand what to do with this, and you actually absolutely need to open it to continue the game later. So, let me see. You need the... Oh, I gotta look it up. It's the... We used it when we were in the mountains earlier in the game. I think it's this one. Yeah, the clavalium. It opens any lock. There we go. Okay, so we need this for later. And... I've never seen this plant before, and here it is growing in abundance. They're saying the Sisterhood has been attacked. Don't know much more than that, but the Seeds of Redemptionists have all got excited about it. There's a bunch of them chanting outside of Pulliver's right now. Foxville tried it. So here's Foxfield, and there's the Trident, which is going to put us at K8. From Foxfield, the Trident points me in the direction of some foothills southwest of the Swinside Stone Circle. A faint path leads me over a ridge into the dell. Here, a plant thrives sheltered from the wind. I'm going to Blackcomb. I will kill this servant. My people have a saying, he who lives without fear does not live at all. I will not say that I am not afraid, but I would be no bad thing to die hunting such a noble adversary. I will take some Embersoul. Allow me to present my services. I own a small shop that specializes in curiosities. I would have thought that someone in your position ought to be interested in pursuing our collection of manuscripts on elixirs, for example. The dark exterior of Arnside Antiquities blends into its surroundings, a tailor called Jones and an ugly-looking haberdashery, to the extent that I walk past it 3 times before I find it. Inside, however, I'm greeted by a world of intrigue and wonder. Old trinkets sit alongside faded books and manuscripts, while strange utensils and machines, their uses unfathomable, occupy rows of display cases. It is some time before I peel myself away, returning to the Undermere with 2 new recipes for elixirs that demand further study. The dreams have changed. I understand now what I need to do. When your librarian friend visits tomorrow, give her this instead of the palliance that she will ask for. She knows something that she's not telling you. So we learned earlier that this is a truth sayer, so it's a truth plant. Equipped with the artist's knowledge, she journeyed west to the Stone Circle. Unknown to her, she was not alone as she made her preparations. Okay, so Enmore. And this is a 2-part. First you go to the Raven, which is going to be right here. And then a jack's dog croaks hidden somewhere nearby. Strange shapes of old stones pierce the long grass. Among them, some plants grow. Have you heard of this masked woman? Imagine having that amount of power. Nations would kneel before you. You would be a god. That creature, it's huge, unstoppable, and they say it obeys her every command. It would certainly come in helpful with my father-in-law tomorrow. I guess I'll just have to settle for some Daisy Duck to help get me through it instead. This letter was delivered in an unusual way. There was no address provided, just the horticulturist, spelled wrong. I'll have to assume it was meant for you. If you know your plants, this letter is for you. Woohoo! So you've got it working. Oh, yes, it works. It works. Look to the north of Bowfield at the source of the river Esk. Nobody knows it grows there. It will be our little secret, ho-ho. Sure enough, I find a plant here that I have never seen before. My husband likes to forage for mushrooms, but I'm worried about the ones he's brought back from his latest venture. He's just been on a trip across the lake exploring the woods to the west of here. He's got a bag full of odd-looking mushrooms that he says are perfectly safe, but they don't look edible to me. I have brought one with me to help identify it, but he's hoarding them because he thinks I'm going to throw them out. I'll come back tomorrow. Mushrooms, how have I never been here before? They're hard to find at first, but then soon I'm seeing them everywhere. And these are going to be Farmer's Worry. Lord Freeman told me he was able to help you find some information on the servant. I've been looking all over the library, but all I've discovered is a mold problem. I hoped that you might have some sweet breath that could help clear it up. Now this is where you can make a choice of giving her the Neptune or sticking and giving her the Palliance. For the best ending, do the Palliance. It won't impact your ending, I guess, horribly much. She becomes angry at you at the end, but if you keep to the good ending, she will eventually forgive you, but you're left with kind of this, like, you know she's really mad and hurt. And so I guess just for the sake of role play, I'm going to give her the Palliance, but then that means you just have to remember in day 13 to do it differently. My cousin will be married in 3 days. If you have some Trimplehuff, then it'll save me the trouble of going out to find some myself. If you knew my cousin, you know she's not worth the trouble. The shepherd watched as she prepared the leaves and roots that she would require. He watched as the hours dragged by, the sun set, and she worked by candlelight, at times sitting still, at times moving like a dancer among the stones. The change happened suddenly, but also subtly, so that at first the watcher was not sure that anything had happened. Then he saw it. Alright, so this is where this coin comes in. Gosforth is where we're starting. So, Gosforth. So here's Gosforth, and it was saying to the south, or 8 miles east of Gosford. So you just move over by 8 boxes. Gazing at the still water of the lake, its black waters draw me into the reflective trance. Here and there are flowers that I don't recognize grow along the bank. Well, he went and ate those bloody mushrooms. And, of course, now he's sick. Is there anything we can do? He's in a bad way, and I'm worried about him. Well, if he ate farmer's worry, often fatal, an antidote will be made using royal gentian, which we have. I have been to Blackcomb. I have fought the servant and lived, but still my adversary stands. It must be defeated. For my part, I am ashamed to say that I am done. And my soul could use a tonic of St. Quentin's elixir if I'm ever to recover from the horror that I've seen. No. Okay. Alright, so Daisy Dock. Candlewood. And Sheep's Neck. There was a hateful man who I used to see around town. Isidore Burbage he was called. I heard a rumor he got involved with the cult and they removed part of his brain, but I don't know if that's true. Either way, he has seemed a changed man recently. Let's see. The chalice clue takes me directly to the south of Sajo to a spot next to the river. Moss-covered rocks line the banks, velvet to the touch. In the moist conditions, a deadly-looking plant grows abundantly in the lush grass. Verona tells me you are working on gathering the plants for a ritual that will help us defeat this creature. I want to help in any way I can. From what Verona told me, I think this might be one of the plants needed to perform the ritual, but I'm afraid I don't know where it can be found. My daughter is getting married and I want to decorate the church with nice flowers. I believe there's a plant with a small blue cup-like flowers that is supposed to bless their union. I think it's the average, but let me check real quick. It must not be, because I don't have that one unlocked. For some people, they get Thaddeus Cornwell. I get her. Maybe I want some blue. Behind the woman, a dark skeletal figure began to rise, and a low primal snarl sounded across the clearing. The shepherd turned and ran, cold fear coursing through his veins. He did not run for long. The cycle starts again west of White Scar by the river. The sun-bleached skull fixes me with its black-eyed gaze, a reminder from the chest of the skeleton, a plant grows. And this one is going to be... I lived in Undermere all my life, and I've never seen the people as worried as they are now. Everyone's talking about the sisterhood and the servant. Somebody needs to do something to stop that beast. I was speaking to a woman from Arnsine who told me of a cave nearby that the locals stay away from. Apparently there is a strange plant that grows there, but the cave is believed to be haunted. Unfortunately, she was vague about where the cave was. Somewhere to the east was all she can say when I pressed her. A thin crack runs down the rock face, widening as it nears the ground. Just wide enough for a man to slip through, but there's a problem. A large boulder blocks the entrance, too heavy to move. I am surprised at how easily I am able to roll the boulder with the help of the farmer's worry. As my eyes adjust to the darkness, I discover several clusters of fungi growing there, reaching out desperately to the thin strip of light provided by the crack. My wife of 30 years is dying. That is the truth of it, as painful as it is to say out loud. The doctors say there is nothing they can do, but I cannot sit by and wait for it to happen. A man at the hospice let slip that a plant-based elixir. I don't think he meant for me to hear it, but I did, and it's all I can think about. I understand the risk, but any price is worth paying if it means she doesn't have to die. Please, I'm begging you. What a delightful shop you have. I'm only in town for a brief visit, but I heard I might be able to get a hold of some liverstone here. As a side note, she looks so nice and kind, but liverstone... is advised when handling this plant due to the strong paralyzing agents contained within. Just something of an interest. I can't control it anymore. This has gone on too far. I never meant for it to turn on my sisters. It's too strong, and I'm trying to hold it back, but it wants to kill. That's all it wants. Death, death, and more death. You have to help me. Widow's woe or dead man's fingers. Widow's woe is for the bad ending. Dead man's fingers is for the good ending. There's been talk over the last few nights down the royal oak of a servant creature going around slaughtering people. I used to enjoy walking in the hills, but I daren't leave my house now. I've decided to bring nature to me in the meantime. The glow of a few pixie lamps would surely warm my heart. She finally had the power she craved all these years, a servant to do as she willed, but that power came at a cost. The servant was awoken, and it would not be contained. It was the Dendru, the dread. It was death. The trees sway effortlessly in the cool breeze. The low hum of the crickets chirping rides the wind. A sense of calm washes over me, and I'm rewarded with a new find. It is time. The servant is on the move again. Time to act. Meet me at the ritual site. I hope for all our sakes that you've been able to track down all the plants we need. A small stone shrine sits off to one side of the clearing. 5 grooves run out from the center of the stone, widening into recesses at the base. 5 slots for 5 plants. Well done. I will take it from here. I stand back and watch as Verona walks around the shrine, muttering soft incantations. Feels like a long time passes before she looks up, but in reality it was perhaps only 10 minutes. Nothing's happening. What do you mean nothing's happening? Have we got the right plants? I think so. Perhaps we just need to be patient. A loud noise behind us makes us all jump. Turning around, I see something that makes my blood run cold. A woman in the jade mask is walking calmly and slowly towards us from the other side of the clearing. Behind her, standing tall and terrifying, is the black silhouette of the servant. What was that about being patient? I think we're out of time. Do not be afraid. I'm here to surrender willingly. The servant cannot be allowed to... Ah! The creature lunges forward and brings a huge arm scything towards her. Her scream pierces the cold air as she drops to her knees, clutching her head. But the blow seems to glance off to one side as it comes hurtling down, and the beast's claws end up embedded in the dirt instead of the woman's back. I can't hold it back much longer. You need this. She throws a small vial of red liquid, which Reuben deftly catches and holds up to the light. Blood. Quickly, I know what to do. Verona grabs the vial and fumbles to get the stopper out as she turns back to the shrine. The servant has its huge arm free again and is slowly advancing with strange, jerking movements. Verona pours the liquid into a small cavity in the shrine, and everything seems to happen at once. A pillar of bright white light launches out of the shrine towards the servant and hits it in the chest. A huge beast shrieks and staggers backward, drowning out the screams of the woman in the jade mask, who is clutching her head and writhing in agony on the ground. There is an almighty thunderclap and a blinding flash of light, and suddenly the servant is gone. A patch of charred ground smolders where it stood just moments before. My head is spinning at what has just happened. Did it work? Have we defeated the servant? With the dust settled and the servant vanquished, I have been able to reflect on the events of the last few weeks. We were fortunate that Thea was able to stay in control of the beast for as long as she did. Who can say what would have happened if she was unable to prevent it causing the destruction it craved? Undermere has never felt so jubilant, so full of life. All the nervous tension that had built up evaporated in an instant, and the people have plowed their energies into celebration and merriment. They do not know the whole truth, of course, that Thea, the woman in the jade mask, was the one who summoned the servant. I promised Reuben that I would leave it to him to unravel that mess. She is his daughter, after all. And as for myself, well, I'm back in the calm of strange horticulture, of course, with Hellborn for company. It's quieter around here, but I am content, and there is always more plants to learn about and discover. The Sleeping Dendrew. It is done. The servant can go back to being a dark story for dusty shelves. Reuben, Verona, Bethany, and Faye are alive. Ennis Alford is in hiding. He's the one with the cultist. The hunter is wounded. Thea Ward is in hiding. And Isidore Burbage is insane. There was an opportunity, or I guess a chance you can have both Thea Ward and Reuben Ward killed if you gave Thea the other plant instead of the dead man's fingers. Alright, I will be back pretty quick with the other endings. There's 2 other endings. They're both bad, I guess. The second ending is quicker to get. The third one, I do have to play the game pretty much all the way through to get the third one again. But I will be back with it. Thank you so much, guys. I do appreciate the support and the company.